Let's make a folded greeting card with cherry blossoms on it. Hi, I'm Michelle Cooper and welcome to my studio. So let's get started. First, you'll need a piece of paper that is 10 inches tall by 7 inches wide and a pencil. Then draw your cherry blossoms on the front of your card with your pencil. I have a piece of tape along the back edge of the fold so that my paint won't leak into it. To keep your card from sliding around on your desk while you work, tape it to a support, and that will give you more control. We're going to be using watercolors for this project, so let's test out cobalt violet here, sort of a soft, natural looking blossom color. And what other color might I have? Oh, I've got like a fuchsia. Maybe if you had alizarin crimson or permanent rose or quinacridone rose, any colors like that, those would work. Okay, I'm going to start with some cobalt violet here on this larger blossom. And although I'm using a water brush and it has water in the handle, I also have a small jar of plain clear water to be able to make it even wetter if I want. I'm giving each one of these petals a slightly different value by the water I'm adding, and I'm keeping the center dry for now. Now I'll add a bit of water here in the center because I'm going to use this fuchsia color, and it's a bit wild. It's pretty dark, so don't be scared. When I put this on here, I just want it to look very watercolory, wet into wet. With my loose style of watercolor painting, it's not going to look botanical or anything scientific. It's going to look more watercolory, so I wait just the right amount of time to put a little bit darker cobalt violet on here to create some variation that could look like shadows. Okay, now I'm looking for a slight change in the color. Not too much of this orange, but mix it with quite a bit of the cobalt violet, and it'll make it look more like a medium coral color. Get the position here. Sometimes you have to paint upside down. Yeah, if I have this, there's a bit of a glare on there, but if I have this a bit of a dark color here right along the edge, it will help to define that part of the painting. I'm going to use this color somewhere else, where add more, maybe make it a little bit darker. And we'll put it right in here, underneath here. Okay, that was a lot of water, so let's soften that in. Okay, maybe show the edge here with some negative painting. Leave that center dry. Add a little bit of this corally color here. Then mix up some extra on the side, so I've got some variety now. Let's keep some different values, like paler tones here, and then maybe add a little bit more of that darker tone on one of these petals in the middle here, and some of these dots. Okay, now let's get some of that original color and fix up these empty blossoms over here. I've got 3 different colors to choose from. This corally color here, and then we've got the original pink, and then we've got a darker pink. So some dots and some darker color in that one. A darker petal there and a lighter one here. And I'm just wiping my brush off with my sponge if I need to get rid of some of the extra water. Okay, we got quite a few little puddles here. Maybe drop in some color, let it blend itself. Okay, now adding a few extra brush strokes here and there. It's so tempting to add some really, strong color, but these are the early spring watercolory cherry blossoms and they're delicate. So I can't really add a lot of this extra pink color. Everything's still pretty wet here, but I can keep it loose. Just add the next value up here just against the edges of the lighter blossoms. Get some accents going here. Maybe fill in a few gaps here and there with some new blossoms. Okay, this is getting pretty wet, so let's let this settle for a minute while we do something else. Okay, back to my practice sheet to practice some stamens with my Writech pen and a few dots of yellow watercolor. And then I'm mixing burnt sienna and a little undersea green for some natural looking darks. Maybe a little bit of Payne's gray too. And speed up that drawing so I can put some darks in here. I'm going to add some of that dark red into those other colors I mixed. Just a nice dark warm color here for this center. And I really like this point on the water brush because I can use it to make some of these little stamens with the same color. And find a few spots where I could put in some accents, some dark accents, and use some of this dark red here for a center of this little flower. Let's see, a little more of that, just to let it bleed around there. Ooh, that's pretty. Darker one in here. Let's see, this one. And this one. Maybe you need to put a stem on this. Make it pretty thin. That's what I like. Yeah. Okay. Put a few little darks in here now. Characteristic of these flowers, and try a couple different colors. Not all the same. And add some more in here. Different sizes. Maybe just a few up in this corner here. Okay, and this one, I could use a few. And get some more of that pink. change the color a bit. I don't know if you could really see that. Yes, this could use some pink right in here. Just some tiny little delicate ones. Okay. And maybe some lines to show more texture. And a few darks. Not too many. Okay, get that Writech pen. Do some fine line work in here with a different color just to give it some variety. Okay, now this is a synthetic brush, a flat brush. If I look around, I see maybe there's some edges I could clean up a little bit, and that's what I like about the type of colors I'm using here. They will lift off, and I'm using Fabriano Artistico paper, which will allow this as well. Just a few little edges here and there. Ooh, I really like the way this turned out. I'll take off this tape here so I can fold my card. See how it looks. There's the inside, there's the outside. There's a place for a sentiment. That was fun. Thanks for watching. See you next time.